Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's
bye.
been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything.
You know, it's
Sad.
it is sad, and I think sports are really the best way for kids to learn it.
Celeste Rivas' death is starting to look way bigger than just a body turning up in David's trunk. People are whispering that this isn't some simple crime scene, it's a whole tangled web, and now Joe Rogan's explosive comments about the case are lighting up the entire internet. David's situation keeps spiraling out of control, with new jaw-dropping details dropping every single day, and the public can't stop connecting the dots. What's being revealed is so wild it's shocking even the investigators who thought they'd seen it all. The truth is starting to look like Celeste had deeper, darker ties to David than anyone first realized. This isn't just about a tragic body found in a trunk anymore. It's about cryptic lyrics, suspicious timelines, and resurfaced footage that keeps hinting at something bigger. Fans are acting like detectives themselves, piecing things together while real investigators scramble to keep up. The energy around this case is intense, and every new leak is making people question everything they thought they knew about Celeste, David, and everyone tied to them. Every new detail coming out feels darker and heavier than the last. And the first real twist that's got everybody talking? His lyrics. People are running back his track Decide over and over, dissecting every single line and pointing out the words he dropped like a confession. I know what the problem is. Save your tears. 7 years. I know life is complicated. You don't have to say no more. Don't know if I'm going to make it. We both have to find a way to work it out. My head is aching. You're the one that started this. When it was first released, nobody blinked an eye, thinking it was just another emotional track about a messy situation. But now, in the shadow of Celeste's tragedy, those lyrics are being read like a code, and the internet is buzzing about what they really meant. What's got everyone truly unsettled is the 7 years part. Back then, it seemed like just a poetic reference, but after people learned Celeste had known David since she was young, the meaning started to sound way more suspicious. The timing feels chilling, and fans are convinced those bars weren't random at all. They're digging through every song, every old video, every hidden clue like it's an open investigation. That lyric doesn't just sound eerie, it feels downright haunting. Like he left a countdown hidden in plain sight inside his music. People are saying this can't be brushed off as some random coincidence. They believe it's a straight up coded message. And the crazy part, once you catch it, you can't unhear it. It sticks in your mind and changes the way you see his whole catalog. But that's not the only track raising eyebrows, because another song has fans shook. Romantic Homicide. It dropped on September 7th, 2022. And guess what day that is? Celeste's birthday. He literally put that track out on her 12th birthday. And fans can't get over how chilling that timing looks now. The track itself has lyrics that paint a picture of someone imagining taking a life, talking about it being in the back of his mind with no regret. And now people can't help but connect those words with the timeline, the upload date, the words in the song, the context of everything happening around him. Fans are piecing it together and saying it feels way too precise to be random. Investigators haven't ignored it either, because with every lyric pulled apart, the case starts to look less like music and more like confession-style storytelling set to a beat. Back when it first dropped, people brushed it off as just another edgy heartbreak anthem, but now it's hitting way different, like a full-on confession hiding behind the melody of a love song. Fans are losing their minds online, shouting, "How was this missed?" And "Why didn't anyone put the pieces together sooner?" It feels almost impossible that nobody caught the meaning at the time. And then came Here With Me, and that track only made everything creepier. One line in particular stands out heavy now. "I don't care how long it takes as long as I'm with you." At release, it sounded harmless, maybe even sweet. But today, people swear it reads like him waiting until she was old enough before going public with whatever was happening. That interpretation has fans shook because the timing and the wording are just too sharp to ignore. But the situation didn't stop there. It got even worse. Photos began surfacing from one of his concerts. Grainy, but still clear enough to make out faces. And allegedly, they show Celeste herself in the crowd while David is seen waving directly at her. That single image alone sent shockwaves through social media.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
really good.
Okay,
It's
bye.
been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything.
with people saying it changes everything they thought they knew about his connection to her. If that turns out to be true, it completely wrecks any defense he's been clinging to about not knowing her. And she wasn't some stranger. She was right there, watching him perform, living inside his world while he waved back at her from the stage. That alone paints a whole new picture of their connection and makes the story even harder to brush off. Then came the real bombshell, a podcast clip that's now resurfacing.
I'm really big into anime and I'm really big into manga, and I wanted to make my own manga series at one point, and a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Itami, which means pain in Japanese. The story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
And going viral everywhere. The footage shows David and Celeste talking in a way that's got people stunned, discussing topics way too grown for her age. Viewers are calling it straight from the Epstein playbook, saying no grown man should even be on that kind of subject matter with a minor. And now that she's gone, those old clips aren't quirky or funny anymore. They're being passed around as receipts, as cold evidence of a relationship that never should have happened. But it goes even darker than that. David once described having an evil anime character that commits crimes, something he claimed was just a creative persona. Back then, fans laughed it off and chalked it up to him being artistic and edgy. But now, people are calling it a mask, a dark alter ego he used to speak through, saying the things he couldn't admit as himself. One user on X hit the internet hard with a comment, an evil version of me, which means pain in Japanese. Fans are saying he should be arrested just for that cringeworthy statement alone. And while the internet debates it, many are sending heartfelt condolences to Celeste's family as this story grows heavier by the day. Things went from wild to straight up surreal when Joe Rogan himself tapped into the conversation. He said this whole case broke his heart, calling it flat out sad, but he didn't leave it there. He went straight into the lyrics, the dates, the so-called hidden clues, laying it all out like a map. And then he dropped one heavy line that's been echoing all across the internet. Kids of today don't learn, pointing directly to Celeste's risky behavior. Reports have revealed that Celeste often ran away from home without her family or friends even knowing, moving through the city, chasing danger and thrills. Joe wasn't aiming blame at her, but he was blunt about what he saw. The culture of kids today moving reckless, making choices without thinking of the consequences, is exactly the kind of setup that allows tragedies like this to happen. His take wasn't sugarcoated, and it hit like a punch in the chest. That single comment cut deep because it opened up a bigger, harsher picture. Celeste wasn't just a victim, she was a young girl living wild, and in the eyes of many, that might have made her an easier target. Social media exploded over his words, with some agreeing that society needs to protect kids better, while others said Rogan was out of line for even suggesting it. Either way, his take shifted the conversation from just David's actions to a broader cultural warning, making this case feel bigger than one tragedy. It's a mirror to how risky youth culture can turn deadly. Now, let's run it back with the full timeline, because that's where things turn bone-chilling. In March 2022, David drops aside with that haunting "Save Your Tears 7 Years" lyric, and nobody thinks twice.
Yeah, it was rough. That was a rough one.
But 2 months later, May 2022, he tweets something cryptic about a girl wanting to be taken where I belong, and the age mentioned, 11. That lined up perfectly with Celeste's age at the time, and fans looking back are calling it a dead giveaway. By July 2022, things get even heavier. He drops romantic homicide on the exact day of Celeste's birthday, making people wonder if it was timed on purpose. Then in October 2022, leaked Discord chats start spreading online, showing David allegedly asking if Celeste was logged in, and then she appears in the thread right after. Fans were floored at how direct that looked in hindsight. Fast forward to December 2023, and it gets impossible to ignore. A song literally titled "Celeste" gets recorded, while photos of the two together begin surfacing. And just when people thought it couldn't get clearer, March 2024 Discord convos drop, showing a fan straight up saying he's dating a girl named Celeste with no hesitation. To a lot of people, this timeline reads like a trail of breadcrumbs, each one tying him closer to her in ways that feel impossible to explain away. By April 2024, the story takes a chilling turn. Celeste disappears completely from her family's life.
Late last week, Los Angeles police searching a home in Hollywood Hills that the singer was staying at, removing several items, including a computer.
No calls, no visits, no explanations. Just gone. Months later, In August 2024, things get even stranger when a Discord user actually requests a song about a missing girl and names her directly as Celeste Rivas. That detail alone had people frozen. Like, how could someone already be asking for that before the full truth even came out? Then September 2024 arrives and Celeste turns 14. But instead of a normal teenage birthday, the internet gets rocked by the first photo of her flashing a tattoo, a tiny inked on her finger, the exact same design David had shown in one of his videos. That image set social media on fire, with fans saying the matching tattoos were a secret link between them all along. And finally, September 2025, what should have been another birthday milestone turns into a nightmare. Instead of celebrating turning 15, Celeste's body is discovered stuffed inside the trunk of David's abandoned Tesla. That ending turned the whispers and suspicions into a full-blown horror story, leaving fans and investigators convinced this case had been unraveling in plain sight for years. That timeline doesn't read like random coincidence to people. It reads like a slow, calculated connection that spiraled into full-blown tragedy. But just when it felt like it couldn't get heavier, it did. LAPD came crashing down on his Hollywood Hills spot, swarming the place, and walking out with stacks of evidence bags. Late last week, Los Angeles police confirmed they searched the home where the singer had been staying, and witnesses say they hauled out multiple items, including his personal computer. Not long after, call records surfaced, allegedly tying him directly to Celeste. That revelation had fans and the media in shock, because now it wasn't just about music or rumors. It looked like hard receipts stacking against him. The backlash didn't just hit, it cooked his entire career overnight. His upcoming tour canceled. The highly anticipated deluxe album version shelved indefinitely. All the promotions and press stops he had lined up frozen on the spot. Even worse, his label moved lightning fast to distance themselves, cutting ties before the story burned them too. Brands that once flaunted his image and name instantly erased every trace of him, like he never existed. Nobody, no company, no sponsor, no platform wanted to be linked to him anymore. And the silence around his name became louder than any song he ever dropped. Meanwhile, over in Lake Elsinore, Celeste's hometown, the mood turned heavy and heartbreaking. The whole community was in mourning, and it wasn't just about grief anymore, it was about demanding answers. To them, this wasn't just some headline or internet rumor. This was their daughter, their neighbor.
I didn't know her personally. I just want justice for this little girl. I don't want her to be forgotten.
Their friend, whose life was stolen far too young. People filled the streets and spoke with raw emotion. One voice breaking through the noise saying, "I didn't know her personally. I just want justice for this little girl. I don't want her to be forgotten." That kind of pain echoed everywhere, leaving the entire town shaken. And while her hometown stood together in sorrow, online, the energy flipped almost overnight. At first, fans were screaming out in his defense, swearing up and down that David was being framed, claiming the only reason he was in the spotlight was because his career was on the rise. But as the evidence piled up and the stories started connecting, those same voices went silent. The hashtags vanished, the defenders disappeared, and the support that once propped him up online collapsed like it was never even there. Now the internet feels colder, with people realizing this wasn't hype or rumor. It was a tragedy that hit real lives. What's left hanging in the air right now is pure suspicion, anger, and an endless demand for answers. People all over are asking the same thing. Why hasn't he been arrested yet? With the mountain of evidence stacking up, fans can't wrap their heads around the silence from the authorities. One user wrote, "How is he not in custody or even being interviewed as a suspect with all of this evidence?" The frustration is boiling over online, and the pressure on investigators keeps climbing by the day. Another post cut straight through the noise, saying, "Originally, I thought D4v could be innocent because you'd have to be so stupid to hide a body in your own car and just think it'd magically disappear. But seeing all the sus messages, photos, and even the lyrics from his own songs, he really does seem just that stupid." That line went viral because it summed up the disbelief so many people are feeling. Through it all, tributes to Celeste to keep pouring in, with people saying "Rest in peace, Celeste" across every platform. And even if, by some twist, he didn't physically commit the crime, fans are reminding the world that he still crossed the line by allegedly being involved with a teenager, something that stains his image forever. At this point, fans are saying flat out, "Time to lock bro up." The same people who once rallied behind David and defended him are now the ones firing off the hardest questions. If he was really innocent, why didn't he claim the Tesla when it got towed? Why let it sit abandoned until the smell gave everything away? That kind of silence doesn't look like innocence. It looks like guilt. The whole situation feels like he thought the car and what was inside would just disappear on its own, and people can't believe he really moved that recklessly. Now his catalog is under a whole new spotlight, and fans are replaying track after track like it's a hidden diary.
You know, it's
Sad.
It is sad, and I think sports are really the best way for kids to learn it.
What used to sound like creative metaphors now reads like a confession hiding in plain sight. One fan wrote, many of his songs include lyrics that hint at the death of his significant other, and even killing them too. But through all of this chaos, Joe Rogan's words are still ringing in people's ears. Kids of today don't learn. Celeste had a habit of running off, slipping away from home without anyone knowing where she went. For a 13-year-old, that kind of behavior was more than reckless. It was downright dangerous. And maybe, just maybe, it played a role in pulling her closer to David in ways no one around her could stop. But even with that, there's one thing nobody can explain away: how her dismembered remains ended up locked inside the trunk of his abandoned Tesla. That single fact stands like a shadow over everything else, leaving the world stuck between questions and speculation. Was Celeste's death just a heartbreaking coincidence born from risky choices? Or was David carefully weaving this nightmare into his music the whole time, hiding the story in plain sight while the world danced to his songs? The questions won't stop until the truth comes out, and fans are demanding answers louder than ever. So what do you think? Was this just a tragedy of bad decisions, or something much darker, planned out bar by bar? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know your take, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. And until next time, see you on the next one.